One of the big things in the headlines, and we've been talking a lot about it on the show, is the potential, it looks like inevitable takeover of Warner Brothers by either Paramount or Comcast or Netflix or Apple or whoever. Someone's going to be taking it over. But Rob and I have always said on here, I mean, our first choice is that Warner Brothers not get taken over. We would much prefer to see Warner Brothers just continue to function, but it looks like it's an inevitability. Well, we're not the only ones who don't want to see it get taken over. Because according to this story in Variety, the Writers Guild of America is saying that Warner Brothers merger would be disastrous for writers. The article writes this. The Writers Guild of America came out swinging on Thursday against a merger between Warner Brothers and any other studio, saying such consolidation would be a quote-unquote disaster for writers. The statement comes 2 days after Warner Brothers says it's considering multiple offers. Paramount, freshly acquired by David Ellison Skydance, is the most eager suitor. Any deal involving another content producer would shrink the number of buyers in the market. They're not wrong about that. Merger after merger in the media industry has harmed workers, diminished competition and free speech, and wasted hundreds of billions of dollars better invested in organic growth, the WGA East and West said in a statement on Thursday. Combining Warner Brothers with Paramount or another major studio or streamer would be a disaster for writers, for consumers, and for competition. The WGA West and the WGA East will work with regulators to block the merger. All right. Now, the first thing I should mention here is, while the WGA is saying they're going to work with regulators to block the merger, they tried to do that with the Disney acquisition of 20th Century, and they failed. They also tried to do that with the merger between Amazon taking over MGM, and they failed. And I have very little doubt that they will fail here. That being said, there is not one thing, Rob. I have my lie detector up, and it's coming up empty on everything they just said in their statement.
100%.
Warner Brothers getting acquired by another studio will reduce the number of opportunities. It will reduce the number of working writers. It will reduce choice. It will give consumers less options. I mean, the only way Warner Brothers getting purchased can avoid those things is if an AT&T came along and bought them. But we saw what happened the last time when AT&T bought Warner Brothers, they ran that company into the ground. But like Kellogg's comes along to buy it. I don't know, Verizon comes along to buy it. Microsoft comes along to buy it. I mean, those are the only real types of options that would alleviate the worries of, like the WGA. But unfortunately, you'd have to have a company that's not in the entertainment business that wants to be in the entertainment business. And the companies that want to be in the entertainment business are already in the entertainment business. And that's Apple, that's Amazon, that's Comcast, NBC Universal, that's Paramount, that's whatever. So, Rob, again, I agree with everything the WGA just said. I'm 100% in agreement with it. But I don't think them thinking that, and I don't think you and I, because I think you agree with everything they just said too.
I do.
Them thinking it and us agreeing with them isn't going to make any difference. I just don't see another suitor that wants to come along and probably drop in the neighborhood of $75 billion to acquire Warner Brothers unless they're already in the business. Because the reality is, Rob, a company like Paramount, a company like Apple TV Plus, a company like NBC Universal Comcast, Warner Brothers offers them more than another third-party company just coming in and wanting to get into the entertainment business. It doesn't offer as much value to one of those companies as it does to a company that's already in the space. So I 100% agree with them. I just don't see a way around it, though, unfortunately. Anyway, Rob, you read the statement. What do you think about what they said?
Well, look, like we just talked about, there's nothing that I disagree with in their statement. And we've been saying, ultimately, when you have one parent company controlling two studios, it's still one parent company, which means there's not as many places to take things. Just because Paramount and Warner Brothers might still exist as entities, you're still dealing with ultimately Larry and David Ellison. And that's bad for the business. And I think though that the problem with the entertainment business is not necessarily mergers. I think it's more of a problem with movies themselves. I think that we need to focus on the fact that the art of cinema is what should be looked after. The fact is, David Ellison loves movies, you know, and Larry and David want to focus on I think making films. And on one hand, I just think that when you have people at the top that want to make something, I would give them the benefit of the doubt. Whereas when AT&T took over Warner Brothers, I was like, no, 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 no. And it was a mess because you had a bunch of people that didn't know anything about movie making taking over a studio to make movies. And a lot of yokels came in and started going, let's work on movies. And they didn't know anything about them. And it wasn't good for the studio. And clearly they weren't good for the studio. And that merger didn't last very long. At least the Ellison boys, father and son, and maybe they'll Megan Ellison will have
Bring
Anna
their sister
Porter
in.
back.
Yeah, bring the sister in.
Yeah. And who also loves films. And she actually, while didn't make a lot of money on her films, had great taste in terms of filmmakers she worked with.
Well, Anna Perna put out some wonderful films.
Wonderful movie. That's what I mean.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, David Ellison's sister, also the beneficiary of Daddy Ellison's money, ran Anna Perna. And they put out some absolutely wonderful films, absolutely fantastic films, to your point, Rob.
Yeah, so I mean, look, the state of the business is where it's at right now, and it's a mess. It's definitely going through a transition on every level. And I get what the WGA is saying, but at least they've kind of got the bankroll. They're in the business. They're not buying this stuff to break it up and sell it off. They're making, as we've said, great moves at Paramount. And I think if they do take over Warner Brothers, I think they're going to make great moves at Warner Brothers too. At least, fingers crossed. But
all right, guys.
Disagree with what the WGA said.
No, they're 100% right.
Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Zapier. One of the biggest game changers of the past year has been AI. But let's be real, just talking about AI doesn't actually make your day any more productive. What does make it more productive is finding tools to put AI to work for you. And that's where Zapier comes in. Zapier is the easiest way to take AI and plug it directly into the apps and processes that you're already using every day. No IT bottlenecks, no complexity, just results. For me, it's been about saving time on repetitive stuff so I can focus on the work that matters and I actually enjoy. And it's not just me. Over 3.4 million companies are already using Zapier to streamline everything from sales and marketing to IT and HR. With their AI orchestration platform, you can connect top AI models like ChatGPT or Claude right into the apps you already use. So whether it's automatically enriching leads, coaching your sales team, or even resolving IT tickets, Zapier makes it simple. Guys, join the 3.4 million companies already automating with Zapier and transform how you work with Zapier and AI. Get started for free by visiting zapier.com/Campea. That's ZAPIER.com/Campea.
The question is for you guys. What do you think about this? The WGA just came out and slammed any potential idea about Warner Brothers not being sold, but being sold to an already existing studio. That's the thing they have an issue with. The problem is I don't see another player coming in, even though I completely agree with them. However you guys see this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.